All right, everybody. 6:02. We're gonna start now. Everybody get a seat after you get your food. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. Excited to see all these folks that are excited to be here and hear about the great things we got going on at the Field Club of Omaha. My name is Rick Hotzinger, for those of you who don't know me. The purpose of this meeting is informational. The management and the board want our members to know what's going on with the club, the things that we are doing, the things that we are looking at, where we are now and where we're going, basically. I got to tell you, a little more than a year ago, we had a board meeting here in that building right there, the swing room, or in that room right there, the swing room. And it was kind of a scary meeting because it seemed like, and I know you guys have all experienced it, the world was kind of falling apart. Everything was shutting down. The club was told, shut down the dining, shut down the golf course. It was scary, as you all know, and we were scared because our concern was, how are we going to make it through this? I mean, we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if we were going to be able to open back up the golf course. We didn't know if, we knew we had to go to takeout dining. We knew we weren't going to be able to open the facility for dining for a period of time. We didn't know what would happen with the pool, whether we'd be able to open the pool. So it was weird and scary, and you guys have all had your own experience with that. But the amazing thing is where we are now. And the reason for that is because of you all. The members stepped up to support this club. People started, coming here to pick up food. Our management was amazing. They adapted on the fly. They figured out how to do things that they had never done. We made a commitment early on. The first decision we made, which I think was one of the best decisions the board has made at this club, was we were going to make a commitment to our management and our employees that regardless of how scary this was and how scared we all were, we did not want them to think we're just going to shut down and throw them all out. So we guaranteed that we would cover their salary until the end of April, and their livelihood, basically. And of course, we're loyal to them. They've been so loyal to us. So we're in a good spot now. We got through that year. I think most of you know, and I'm going to turn this over to Greg in a minute to go through this PowerPoint. But we're full. We have the golf, the social, and a clubhouse membership. We're full up, and we've got 50 people on a waiting list to join this club. I don't think that's happened. I think we have more members than we've had in the history of this club, which, remember, was founded in 1898. Go ahead, you can switch it. Also, we had a finance meeting and a board meeting today. I think this club is in the best financial position that we've been in a very long time. So we're in a place where we have opportunities to improve our club, to make it better for all members, and to improve everybody's member experience. And it's a great position to be in. So this is what we're going to know. What this meeting is, an informational meeting. This is not a meeting where there's going to be any decisions made. This is not a meeting where there's going to be any vote for anything. It's for the board and the management to tell you, here's where we are, here's what we're looking at. Now, those meetings will come. We are going to have more meetings as we decide how to go forward and what we're going to do. And the membership is crucial, obviously, to helping us make those decisions. But tonight, it's just about giving you information. So here's how it's going to go. We're going to talk about the master plan process. And, you know, Greg will go through this, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. But the bottom line, in the past, what we've done in this club is we've had boards and we've had a lot of people, oh, this is a good idea. Let's do this. Here's a good idea here. Let's do this. And so we study it. We spent money with consultants, architects, you know, looking at all kinds of ideas, and we don't get much done. So we want to make this an organized process. Why now? I just told you, we're, you know, we've got full membership and our finances are in great shape. Greg's going to talk about the history of the master plan. What we've already done. The board has approved 2 projects this year that are going to happen. You see what's going on with the parking out there. And then we've got phase 1 of the golf course that Jeff Putnam, the head of our Green and Grounds, is going to tell you about. Next steps, and then we'll have a period at the end where anybody can speak or ask questions. We're going to try to keep this meeting, out of respect for your time, to an hour and a half. But if we go longer, if people have questions and want to stay, we'll do that. We will do that too. Okay. So I gotta say, turn it over to Greg, but the way he has led us through this, I guess what I would call a crisis, we could call it a crisis, right? Has been amazing. And I think we all should give him a big hand. I'm talking about Greg, I'm talking about his entire management team that he has put together. It's been really cool to watch them work. So Greg, without further ado, thank you and tell us what's going on.
All right, so we were trying to keep it under an hour, but that was under the impression that Hathi would do an introduction in the last 2 minutes. So we are
I'm a lawyer.
I know, and I'm the son of lawyers, so this is going to end bad. So here we go. All right, so we're going to a lot of information here tonight for everybody that's on the Zoom, as well as all those in attendance. This is being recorded. Hopefully, knock on wood, I can't get a pointer to work, so hopefully the recording is working as well. We'll record this, we'll post this out. We're going to email this out to the membership along with the slide deck. It'll be available on the website. So you'll see all this information. I'm not going to read word for word as we go through, but I am going to hit the highlights of what we've been doing. So what's the need for a master plan? Hopefully everyone here can understand the importance that facilities and great amenities and products produce that allow us to be able to serve you even better. So big part of the club. This is a member-owned club. Everyone in here, you have your share. Some of you take it more seriously than others, depending on how many times you come into my office. However, at the end of the day, it's all about the members here. There's no profit-seeking motive. It's important that we continue to expand upon our products and services so that we can cultivate a future membership as well as serve our existing membership as well. All right, so the master planning process, we have our operational committees here at the club. I'm very proud of the fact that we have 16 operational committees. Some serve on multiple committees. Thank you to all of those that do serve. If you have yet to serve and would like to, please let me know. We like to get as many members involved as possible. That allows us to understand what the desires are and the wants so that we can deliver on those over time. We've had our survey. Hopefully everyone in here has completed it more than once. We have our annual survey that we like to track how things are going, and then we have periodic surveys to see, kind of dive deeper into certain things. Focus groups are being initiated here over the next couple months. especially for the facilities. And then I know that Jeff and his crew, Roots and Grounds, have really dove in on focus groups related to that. The committees at our club recommend changes. Those go to the board. The board discusses them along with finance to make sure that we are doing our fiduciary responsibility of making sure that the club is here for the long term. We've been here since 1898, so we've been pretty good up until this point. Finance committee is tasked with devising a financial plan, a lot of different options on the table. At this point, everything has been done from a board level standpoint. But as we go forward, the eventual plan is to put an entire master plan together that the membership will be able to have all of their input on and then eventually come to a vote as well. So that gets down to the member presentation and vote. It's not one presentation, it's multiple. So across all of the deeper dives of our facilities. The end result is that we hope to reach consensus for a long-term plan of facilities and a golf course. So there are certain people who love the golf course, certain people love the pool, certain people love the dining room. We put all of that together to serve the betterment of the entire membership. As you will see here in a couple slides, we have 875 member families, just shy of 3,600 people. So I know some of you a lot better than others, depending on whether or not we have served you well or served you not so well. But the end result is we have 875 families. So that obviously puts us in a very prosperous position. The end result is we want to keep that at that level, if not better. I think the last total, Lindsay, we're in the 60 neighborhood, I think, on the wait list. So we're in a kind of uncharted waters, which is really good for the club. So we got to make sure we can continue to keep that future solidified as we go forward. Get into the kind of the why now, which I think is really the first step as we get in here. So clubhouse was built in 1993. The last couple of years, you'll see these identified as we go forward. So last year, the big project was to replace all of our windows and doors. The roof has been replaced within the last 5 years, along with the siding. We've done 2/3 of our HVAC as well. So for the most part, all the stuff that no one really likes to do, I call them the unsexy projects, those have all been done. So we're in a good position there. The pool is original to 1927. Jess, I know our pool manager is on this call. One of the issues that we are currently going through, we're losing more water than we normally do. We lose about 6 inches a day, losing a little bit more than that. So we're trying to figure out what's going on there. We did pass pool inspection, so we don't have to worry about whether or not we are going to open. The next concern is we have a pool heater that doesn't work. So we're working to be able to get that up and going. So it's always something with that pool. So that's for us. At the end result is the pool is from 1927. And if you've ever heard the phrase, they don't make it like they used to, the fact that you can get 100 years out of a pool is very, very impressive. So, Jess will tell you that there are a lot of tricks to the trade of being able to operate it. But the end result is the pool is a real social hub for our club, and we've got to make sure that we solidify that part as well. And then the last part, the golf course. Obviously, the original foundation of this club was golf. For those that are unfamiliar, when this club was first built, there was a cricket facility out front, but it was all about golf. Their golf course has been changed multiple different times. There was a baseball field where the pool used to be. Then in the 1920s, they decided, hey, pools are a lot cooler than baseball. And so they put the pool in. It's at least 1927, if not earlier. But the end result is the golf course is the primary reason that this club was founded back in the day. Irrigation has been steadily updated, so that part is good. Drainage continues to be a major issue. We will discuss that as we go on this evening as well. All right, so current status, we'll get into kind of some good ideas as to where we're at. All right, so membership has grown substantially. So you can see the membership counts. I've used the last 10 years. Those are the best figures that I have. We really started this process, this is kind of foreshadowing. We started this process in 2017. So to give you an idea, as you look through here and you look at these 2016 numbers, we were looking here saying, hey, we really need to expand what we're doing because the facility was not built to handle the volume that we had in 2016. So it doesn't take a mathematician to understand if it wasn't built to handle 2016 numbers, 2021 obviously is going to produce more strain. We're very lucky that we have a team and a membership that can handle a lot of different avenues. So whether you're taking to go out the front door, you're ordering it on your phone, or you're picking it up the back door, we've been able to service up until this point. However, the clubhouse, even the golf course, the pool is not meant to service the amount of families that we have. And so it comes to the point where we have to start to make some greater changes in addition to the member desires that have changed. It doesn't, again, getting back to, you don't have to really understand a lot of things to understand that formal dining is not what it used to be. You don't have as many people in this club anymore that are wearing jackets like I am tonight. So those are the things that we were really discussing related to the clubhouse, and then you get into the pool and you get into the golf course. So all of this goes down to how do we create a plan for the entire club that services all 880 members. Each obviously will have things that they love and things that they don't. But the end result is that everybody can support, okay, I don't really understand why we're doing that to the clubhouse. I don't understand why we would do that to the pool, but I really like what we're doing to the golf course. So this is a plan that I can get my hands around. Annual attrition, the other part, just to highlight on some of these things, again, go down. This is one we are really, really proud of. Annual attrition has gone down significantly. And so as we see that, it really creates this membership count going up. And then the new members that we've been able to bring in over the last several years have driven down our annual age or our average age member. So attrition going down, members still joining. That's a really good combo to have. All right, so as we get to it, the golf course has handled more rounds. We were up 50% in 2020. We're up an additional 15% so far in 2021. I don't know anybody in the room that's told me they haven't had a problem getting a tee time. Tee times are free out there. Just go talk to Kevin if you have an issue. He'll take care of that for you. Member dining has grown 25% in the last 4 years. The most important part of that is there's up 25% in 2018, then another 25%, then another 25%. So you're getting compounded. And so our members are using the facility more than they ever have before. And then the last part, the pool is the busiest pool in America. I put that up against anyone. We saw more chicken fingers out of our pool. And I know that Brian is really good at being able to sell. I don't even know.
America.
We sell a lot. Let's put it that way. All right, another graph here as we go. So current status of where the club is. As recently as 10 years ago, we were a $2.7 million business. We are now a $5.3 million business going into this year. I would expect that number to actually tick up as well as we go. You can see the golf rounds going. The big thing that I'll kind of hit on here in 2016, this is when this whole process started. We had those data figures and you're saying, hey, you know, the club is a different animal than what it used to be. And now you look here. Obviously, the pandemic has been a huge benefit to golf and club membership in general. We're not unique. Clubs across the city, clubs across the nation are seeing increased usage from not only their existing members, but increased demand from potential members and those who are joining. So we are good in that capacity. The one thing that I really want to hit on here is the bottom two levels here as you go into the annual capital investment. This basically means, hey, are we netting out more up here to be able to fund back the member experience as we get into the annual capital investment? And then the end result is, are we being good fiduciary stewards of our members' money? And a lot of that ties into the club debt at year end. One of the things Rick told me last night as he looked at this presentation, because I haven't been to a member meeting that somebody didn't ask what the debt was. We're pretty proud of this from a board standpoint. I know the finance committee is really proud that the debt continues to go down, but we continue to invest more money as we go forward. So that's going to be a common theme as we discuss some of these projects as we go forward. We have to be able to do it both from the standpoint of understanding that we need cash to be able to go forward. We need to make our club better for the future, but we also have to make sure that we keep our positioning within the, not necessarily even Omaha market, but within the club market to understand this is very much a value club. We believe that our value far exceeds the cost of it. However, there's no need to go and raise your prices if your members are really happy with where they're at. And the end result is all about all of you making sure that you're happy because it's your club in the end. All right, so we get into some summary points here that I really talked about. I'm kind of prone to hyperbole and exaggeration, so that 80 number will get there. So that first line where it says the membership wait list of 80, I just have a lot of faith in Lindsay that she's going to be able to get it there. So that may be a little bit of an exaggeration. So, but there's no doubt we will get there. The end result is our facilities need to match the high level of personalized service our members have come to expect, while also continuing to provide opportunities to foster the community atmosphere that makes FCO so special to all. The end result is we're here to make sure that we can make connections with people and foster the community among them. We do that through golf, pool, and dining, with a little bit of fitness downstairs. So master plan history, we started this back in July 2017. Again, not to belabor the point, it was really in relation to, hey, from 2016 to 2011, we really need to figure out what we're doing here. Stop doing projects, start doing plans. Because all projects are generally reactionary, like the pool heater. And so we need to be able to figure out, hey, what's coming down the pipe as we go here. So Greens and Grounds made a recommendation to engage Todd Clark, CE Golf Design out of Kansas City. There will be a future meeting related to the golf course. For those that remember, we had a series of meetings related to the first draft of the golf course master plan. I know Jeff will tell you that a gray hair or two was grown in his head based off the number of revisions that were made to that golf course master plan. But we feel very confident that the plan that we have really navigated to is significantly better than the initial one that started, even though that one was much better than the no plan that we had before that. So stop doing projects that get redone or reconsidered shortly after completion. Working clubs for 16 years. I've yet to have a board member tell me, not tell me, hey, I've got a great idea. Have we ever thought of doing this? And every time I hear that, the first thing I say, all right, how much is this going to cost for us to prove that that is not a good idea? And so the end result is that, okay, you can get to that. And there, I will tell you, this club has had a lot of good ideas in the past. It just hasn't been able to build consensus. These meetings are the first step in being able to build consensus within the membership. The end result is we need to have the back and forth. We need members to be able to constantly be discussing. So as we progress through this master plan history, that's where it really got started. So we get working with Todd with CE Golf Design. We really look at some of the longstanding issues and desires. Summer of 18, fall of 18, we get into the presentations on the membership part to the membership. At that point, we were still kind of working within, what are we going to do with our facilities? What are we going to do with our pool and our clubhouse? Master plan committee is commissioned. We got two groups that are assigned to look at the clubhouse renovations, pool renovation. What can we do? What can't we do? Summer of 19, still doing revisions to the golf course master plan, and a clubhouse expansion is really looked at on the north side of the clubhouse. 2020, we get into a year of pause. Member usage continues to grow, membership grows, and then that gets us here into winter of 2020, 2021. So what has really happened over that process that's not listed up here? We've vetted some concerns. We've looked at ideas multiple different ways. We've paired together kind of what we believe are our members' desires and wants for the surveys, focus groups, and conversations that we've had with them. And we have a decent idea as to what we want to do, but we want to make sure that we get the right plan, right? You want to, if you're going to go and spend any kind of dollars, you want to make sure that it's going to have a lasting improvement and value to your club as you move forward. So as we do that, we start in spring of 2021. The operational committees are working with a new, imagine this, a new committee, committees for committees for committees, right? And so along with the board, to begin to activate some of these long-standing capital improvement projects. One of the probably most aha moments that I've had in the last 12 months was I was sitting in a meeting, not in a committee meeting, but in a meeting in my office. And I had someone look and say, so hold on, 90% of the stuff that we're talking about now, we were talking about 5 years ago. Yeah, and we've done nothing. We haven't done enough, but we have done more study and revision, but the roots of it are the same. That's absolutely right. And that generally is what happens. That's not uncommon for clubs, is that you have a lot of these discussions, but you don't necessarily have the action. So one of the things that the board wanted to do this year was say, hey, we want to leverage not only our growing membership and understand what we're doing, our solid financial position, but we need to get going and show people progress so that we can understand in a very solidified way what the future may look like and what do we want to grow towards here at the club. Goal is to develop a 15-year capital improvement master plan for presentation to the membership next spring. So we've done some projects that we're going to discuss now that kind of get the ball rolling, that identify the level of commitment that we have from a board level to the future of the club, and also try to get members to understand the high caliber and high quality that we expect of these projects and how we want to do them. We don't want to shortchange what we're doing. Nothing against what they did in previous years, but when you build a clubhouse and put an elevator shaft, but don't put an elevator in it, you're doing something a little bit different. There's an elevator in the building now, but in 1993, we got the shaft, but we didn't get the elevator. We want to make sure that we do it the right way. Driving focus, how do we prioritize and best utilize our 80-acre campus? So I'll just touch on this real quick. We have looked at external possibilities for land. The 1988 or 1992 revision to the strategic plan lists that the club should continue to look for external property acquisitions. We continue to do that. We looked at one this winter very seriously. It's not the right thing for the club at this time, but it's going to be something that we continue to do. The end result is we are a leasee of the county. We don't own our land. We own everything that's on it. We are a long-term leasee of the county and have a really good relationship there. We believe we're going to be here for a very long time. The problem is most 18-hole country clubs are on 150 to 200 acres of land. We're on 8. And so that creates issues, as I have members, I just had one on Sunday who asked me, hey, when are we going to put a playground for my kids? And my reaction was, as soon as I can get a couple more acres. But again, not to belittle that point, everybody has different reasons, different, I guess, desires that they have from the club. So as we progress through this, the idea is to be able to vet that back to board. All right, so we got a due diligence process here. Stop working on projects and instead focus on a plan. So one of the things that we are working through right now is a capital reserve study covering the entire club, covers the clubhouse, the pool, along with everything on the golf course, develops a timeline of replacement for every asset or a club over $5,000 in value. We have a lot of them. Looks at building conditions, furniture, fixtures, basically everything. It begins in April. It will continue through the summer. The company that we have will be out here for an entire week, looking at every asset and putting a lifetime to it. So we need to understand and make sure that those capital investment dollars that we're putting in annually are going to the right things to make sure that we don't get to the point where we have worn assets and it looks tired and old. We get into the master plan process, so we're going to begin to talk about some of the things that we've looked at. So we've got what we're labeling the initial improvement program. This goes back to, I mentioned earlier, HVAC replacement. I put all these numbers up here because this is a number. You have every right to be able to know what this club is being able to spend, and I'll tell you every single dollar is looked at and discussed extensively from a board level standpoint. We've got the 19th-hole patio, women's pool, locker room, all of these projects. These are all major projects. It's not all of our capital projects, but these are all the major ones that have really gone over the last few years, basically back to 2015. This 11 tee box and fairway improvements last fall was the first major investment in the golf course since 2012. All right. Projects going on currently. So we have our upper parking lot expansion. This gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. This over here was the initial drawing. It's just the best one. That's why I put it up here. So we've got, it'll be operational within a couple of weeks. So we have forms going in on Friday. If anybody needs some dirt, take a pail on your way out. They dug a big hole today. Just make sure you don't step into it. We did have a guest for a wedding on Saturday that actually drove right through the mud hole on their way out. They didn't get stuck, but ignore the cones that are there. It'll net us out an additional 25 parking stalls. That's a 15% increase in our club. So we have 208 parking stalls. It's a big deal. If you've ever been here for one of our stress points, swim meets, weddings, 93 days at the pool, those 25 additional stalls are going to be very valuable. There also will be at some point a Kelly Keegan Memorial grass point over here. I knew you were doing it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So again, big thing, operational before Memorial Day. We've been in a hurry to get that going because we want to get that up for the season. There will be some things that we continue to work on afterward. It's not going to have all the trees and all the stuff that we planned from a landscaping standpoint by May 28th, but you'll be parking on it by May for sure. How will this affect me? You made it here tonight, so you're off to a good start. You found some kind of parking spot down there. For those that are on Zoom, it's probably because they didn't want to fight the parking situation, right? So stormwater treatment facility is going on. You see the huge hole. We've got electrical and irrigation work that will continue throughout. Paving begins next week, and we'll be parking there by the way. So as we go forward, I'm going to kick this over to Mr. Putnam, who understands the golf plan better than any of us here, as he can discuss kind of phase one of our golf course master plan that is going to get started here in July. Yep.
Why don't you stay up here? We'll tag team this.
Okay. All right. I can't get off that early, that easy. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
you cannot.
All right.
Jeff Putnam, Greens and Grounds Chairman. I'm starting to feel like an old man now because I've been here 17 years. I've got the gray hair. I did not have gray hair when I joined.
So you joined at age 19. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. But when I did join, I had kids here that were 1, 2, and 6, or 1, 4, and 6. And so we experienced junior golf, swim team. We just used the hell out of the place and absolutely loved it. Had an opportunity to get on the board in 2006 through 2010. I was president in 2009. At that point in time, we oversaw the expansion of the golf clubhouse, which added on the veranda and all of this. And it's really allowed the social pool side to really expand well. I will tell you that this started in 2008 and 2009. We started looking at the golf course. We did not have a Greens and Grounds committee at the time. We said, let's figure out what we need to do on the golf course for short-term fixes, if it's drainage issues, bunker work that we really needed at the time, and then actually we said, what are we going to do long-term for the golf course? Is there things that we need to improve upon? One of the biggest issues we had on the course was the maintenance facility down outside of, on the left side of number 7, the par 5. We had a couple acres open up when we moved the maintenance facility off campus. It's on the northwest side of the property. So that was the first time the club in 80 plus years, 90 years, had had an opportunity to do something in the golf course. And so we really kicked it around for years and years, trying to figure out what to do. Came up with a couple of plans, and really what we eventually decided was we need to bring someone in to think about that and to think about the golf course from a maintenance perspective, from where to put trees to when you have a new cart path, where are we putting that in? Do we need to change our irrigation? We have routing issues. The course was redesigned when the VA took over part of the property in the early 50s and essentially chopped up the south side of our golf course. And so we've got 16, 17, 18. That was not the original course in 1941 when we hosted the U.S. Amateur here. So we've got a lot of quirky spots on the south side to play golf over here. We've got crisscrossing fairways in 17 and 18. Number 9 is a new par 3 that was put in the 50s. The original hole was number 18 to 9 green. That was the old hole. So it's been chopped up a little bit. And what we wanted to do was bring somebody in and tell us, what do we need to do? So we started talking about doing this early in 8, 9, 10. Well, you remember the market crash back then, and that was the last thing we were doing, was looking at the master plan. So we started doing some things ourselves, doing some tree work, and then eventually we got to the point in time with Todd Clark, who we interviewed 3 architects, had a really good crew of architects coming in. But Todd, I think he understood us most, and he understood what type of club we are. And so he gave us an opportunity to get going on here. So what I want to talk about tonight is the things that essentially have been approved and that we're going to start this year. We also we'll show you the full master plan, but really what we'd like to do, and it's been approved. We've vetted this through several committees, many revisions through a past membership presentations where we took and changed what the members were given to us. So we've did this has been a 3-year process. So anyway, what I want to do is just show you what we're planning on starting this year. We're really excited. I think this is going to give the course a little injection of life from A, we're going to have an additional practice facility, but B, right now, phase one is going to really address some of our drainage problems that we have down the west side of the property, along the northwest and southwest sides. As you can see on number 15, we've kind of been sitting on that down there. So we've got some plans now that I think are really going to be good. But the full master plan is there to address every single issue we have, get it to the board so they understand what we need to do in the future. It's 5 years, it's 10 years, whatever it might be. You know, parking lots last so long, same with car paths, same with bunkers, same with greens, they only last so long. We have 12 greens that were built in 1906 and they're still here. We have original greens from 1906. And so, you know, Nick is an absolute wizard with those because he's got to babysit the hell out of them. You know, someday that will happen. That's not even on this plan. So, but we've got some good stuff to really get started and give you a good idea on what it's like to have Todd Clark, our architect, involved. Nice, safe, and limited, and especially we've got a wonderful staff right now.
So we'll do an initial dive here on phase one of the golf course master plan. Did you shut me off? No. I think you shut me off.
Good close.
Yeah, I can understand. So we're going to do an initial a dive into the plan of what's going to be coming this fall. We'll have subsequent meetings that go deeper into the rest of the plan. What you see tonight has been approved. That'll get going. We've got 2 slides that give you the rest of the plan, both on the north side of Woolworth and on the south side. Other than the work that is presented here, none of that has been approved to move forward. However, the plan itself has been adopted. We feel very strongly and comfortable with what the plan is. But we will have another meeting that will be golf specific, that we will really dive into the entire plan.
So one of the things that we talked about doing with the master plan is implementing the 3T system. And this, you'll see this here in this, we're going to add this in. The 3T system is built upon the premise that we've got junior golfers and we anywhere from 10 to 100 playing the golf course. So everyone's gonna be able to pick a spot. And so as you see on this piece, this is 10. We're gonna have an upper tee box and then a middle tee, which I think that exists already. So in any of these plans, if you see the red marks, that is existing. And then the green areas are going to be areas of disturbance. Those are going to be areas that were torn up by, and then you have to be reseeded or resodded. So any of these plans you see in the next couple of years, you'll see that too. The white is untouched, and so this is just the zone of basically disturbance that we have to present as permits. So the idea is to get a practice green up on top and warm up hitting cages where you can actually hit some balls into a net, take a full swing. We don't have a driving range, probably won't ever, but this will give you an opportunity to hit some balls, you know, get a little feel for what's happening. Number 10 eventually will become number 1. That will be our first hole. Number 11 is going to become number 2. That's how the course has originally played for many, many, many years, and it was switched, I think, in the 60s or 70s. But we think with using 10 as our starting hole, it gives you a practice facility, warm-up area, and that's a great starting hole. Really excited about that.
No, I moved the slide forward because I still have control.
You played the music.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna move down here. So we discussed, he talked about the western part. Up there on the upper tee, just for any questions, there is gonna be a slide of how this is gonna affect you from a member standpoint so that we know what the golf course is gonna play like. Up on the reservoir, it doesn't really affect anything. You still have your existing tee box, we'll move the tees around, it'll still play as a par 4, no big deal. As we get into some of these other areas, there is going to be disruption as we get into the fall. The big part, as Jeff discussed, these are long-standing issues, especially from a drainage standpoint. Down here as we get into 14, 15, and then also traverse up to 11 and 3.
So going back here, once again, we're gonna redo the tee boxes. This is the existing tee here, and then we're gonna make that back into a 3T system. They're going to, as as you can see, we've replaced some of the cart pathing with concrete. We're gonna redo the pavilion and actually.
Not the area, not the actual building.
No, not the, just the concrete around it, and then we're gonna redo the access around there. And Todd, that's a safety issue, where, as you know, as you kick around outside, you can drive up around, get a little too close to 14 T box. So we're gonna reroute car traffic there. The other issue, as you see the black dots and the black circles and lines, that is drainage. And that is the biggest problem that we have on the golf course right now, is drainage issues, where we just cannot get water off the course. If you see where we sit right now, all the water runs down to the west side of the golf course. So if you have a heavy rain, it just runs and runs and seeps and seeps. And when you get down here, we've got standing water all around there, which it's terrible for playability. You have disease problems with that. And so we need to, that's an issue we needed to fix forever. So we said, let's do that first. One of the highlights I love about this is we're going to add a containment bunker basically around the back of it. And it'll catch a ball going hot over the side. Instead of running up to the fence, it's going to run into a bunker. I think that'll play really nicely. We've removed all, probably about, how many trees?
Too many. We don't talk about trees.
We don't talk about tree removal anymore. There's a lot of trees over there. We moved a lot of trees around this green just to get airflow going down there, and I think that's going to really help out. So that we're going to work on drainage all the way out. Here's our existing tee box. We're going to do three new tee boxes over there, and then reroute the carpet. And
any tree we remove is half the membership's favorite tree we have on the golf course that year. And then the tree we removed the next year was their next favorite. I want to throw that out there to be on the record.
So the only other thing we're going to do, which is my favorite thing on this hole, we're going to take this hill out and we're going to move all that dirt down to the bottom, and you're going to be able to see the green from the tee. It's a blind tee. You'll be able to see it now. When your ball rolls up 2 feet away, you'll be able to see it. Right. Tee will be the same height, but we're going to cut. There's a berm. You can see the crest of it. We're going to cut the crest out. We're going to use that dirt down on the bottom to lift everything up and get the drainage moving out. So I think it's going to be it's going to be a really nice change.
So we had a hole in one on 14 tonight, but he didn't see it going the hole. He didn't see it going the hole.
So it's not a hole in one.
Should have been next year.
Is there anything left on the tap?
One more round. Good question.
I'll get out to the members.
I'll answer that at the end. All right. We just get into 15 here, 15 T. If you ever been down here, you got to drive around, you hit the railroad ties, you break the axle in the car, it's bad. Then you don't tell us about it, you leave it in the parking lot, and we got to look at the cameras, and we got to find who it is. It gets awkward. So what we want to do here is just make the car path a little bit better, and then also get it away from the edge around here, where the 3T system. Anybody that knows down here, Nick, really, it's an impossible place to grow grass. Impossible. And so we're really looking forward to being able to get this area in a spot where we at least have some hope, even though you still have all of these shade lines down here, all the great issues, until you can get air moving and get some airflow. That's always going to be an issue, but we feel like at least initially we're going to respond. Good.
Right.
Sure, he says. All right. Whole lot of confidence. You got anything to add to 15T? Let's go to 2. 2, 11 green and 3 T.
Okay, so what we've always had here, this is the red is the existing golf hole that we have. We have fought with that green year after year after year due to drainage problems. It's at the bottom of the hill, and actually the front left of the green bottoms out, and we've had ice damage. We've got disease down there, and that green has always been a fight. Well, it's less of a fight than the next one here, but it's still a fight because it's the bottom of the hill. We also have drainage problems. We have probably spent two or three times. We've done some projects down there and try to improve the drainage. We've improved it a bit, but as you can see behind the green, we've got standing water, and it really needs to be just started over. And so what we agreed to do was stop messing around with these and let's get a pro in. And that's when Todd Clark came in and said, here's some ideas on what we'll do. So there, as you can see, there's a lot of drainage work up both sides. He wants to just get that water off the golf course. Dries out and less problems.
Yeah, the other part too is we looked at the scores from junior, senior, and now with the back tee in play, no one can make par. So we thought, hey, let's move the green up 30 yards and make this hole a little bit easier. I kid, but at the same time, that's the saving grace, right? So it's a 470-yard par 4, which is, depending on the tee placement, at times is playing longer than the current number 3. So I think a big part of this, Jeff, is being able to create the space to have 3 go back a little bit further and actually play like a real par 5.
Well, so you've seen the project on 11, the new 11 tee box that we put in. That was one of the ideas that if we adhere to the master plan, which we agreed to do, this green is going to move up. And I think, you're going to see, a much better golf green there. This will be a better green. We're going to try to square it out, kind of like we have old style greens here where this club was, this club's second oldest club west of the Mississippi River. And we have these old fashioned greens. They used to be really square. We're going to try to go back to that, kind of take that little throwback look. And you'll see it with the green side bunkering too. It'll be an old school style. We're going to get it basically out of the floodplain and put it into an area where we'll have better conditions. It'll be a better playability.
This may be a rhetorical question. Any possibility that now that you've moved the tee box on 11 back to 36th Street, before you move the green east, any possibility that that will turn into a par 5?
No,
That's what I
because there's a yardage requirement. It's too short.
Joe, it is for you.
And it is for most. So for those that are on Zoom, the question was, is there, before you move the green back, is there any way that 11 could be a par 5? Because of the yardage requirements with the USGA related to how many minimum yards a par 5 has to be? No, we could not do that.
I heard the no.
Okay. I was driving the stick, Joe. Driving.
But the plan is to have a 3-tee system. And that would be the back tee, and the middle tee would be where it is right now. And then there's the forward tee, which you see.
Yeah, for the women.
What's that?
On that note, let's just move on. All right, let's get into how this will affect. I don't know if I want to.
There's one more thing, talking about the par
This
5.
is supposed to be a really positive kumbaya meeting. And it's just.
All right, one more thing about this, this tee box moving it back, I think it's about 40 yards. Number 3 is a par 5, is officially not a par 5 length. It's too short to be a par 5. It's a par 5 now because we have a fence. That adds a lot of yards to it. But if something were ever happened down there, that hole's too short to be a par 5. So that was the idea, to put this tee box back in there, tuck it in, get all the water running out, and I think that as 3 as a par 5 can work long term. If any young guys out there hitting the ball, they're hitting driver 8 irons into that hole right now. They're bombing it, and that will help. The young kids are hitting it really far. Got to play for that a little bit. We have an opportunity to do that, and we can do it right now.
Jeff, will that be elevated a little bit?
Yes, it'll be like green height. Yes, so it'll go down and then back up.
The new tee will be a green light.
Yeah. It'll be existing green, correct.
All right, so how will this affect me? Question I get the most. So this is not a club we can shut the golf course down. We can't do it for a long period of time. We've got to make sure that we can keep a playable golf course. The areas that we're discussing are the back 9 this year. So we know that the front 9 is not going to have any kind of disruption as we go. But what are the other things that are really going to start here? So we've got the work on the reservoir. Again, it won't have any effect on the golf course. It's going to start in July. We want to get that in because we want to grow that into seed. Mr. Linden?
I want to ask two questions.
Love the green.
Everything's a process.
Yeah,
So you're gonna move the practice green out to 10 and make 10 1.
correct.
One, I would ask you the question, why do you want to move it? That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, what is the improvements to the golf course going to cost?
So the first question is why would you move the practice green up to the reservoir? For those that are on Zoom. The reason is that it gives you flexibility as to what you can do around the clubhouse. It's the first step to being able to open yourself up to, again, we go back to, we have parking issues. We have an initial appearance for golf members for bringing guests using the golf course. How do they go about doing that? It works within our pool facility. Again, we've got 425 people. A little bit more space would be nice. And so as we look at all of those alternatives, that's an unutilized space. And so if we can get an alternative up there, and I have many members who tell me they don't even use our practice green because of the slope to it.
Right.
So what we have currently isn't working in a space where we could put it to better use, whether it's practice green or not. Let's give ourselves the option to be able to change that over. Does that answer your first question?
Well, and one other
We're gonna get to Q&A too. I wanna make sure that we get through this.
One other thing, it'll allow us to run a better junior golf program with a bigger practice facility. We can have this green will be 3 times as big as what we have right now. It'll be usable space. It will allow us, and plus you can use it as your warm-up area. You'll have hitting bays up there, and that kind of dovetails into your first tee.
Just understand, it's not that I object to moving that practice. Trust me, I don't. I wanted to ask because I'm opening up the idea is just part of the idea of an expansion to the clubhouse. And you seem to be saying, yes, it is.
Yeah, I don't like to back myself in corners, but that would be good. Yeah, I don't know if that's the right place to go with the clubhouse. We're looking west as well. But north and west are really our only options. We certainly can't go to the parking lot if we don't have enough parking. And we can't go to the pool if we don't have enough space for all the people who use the pool.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put any.
No, I get it. Yeah, no, sorry. I just, there have been a lot of discussions. Things continue to go, so we want to make sure that's there. From a cost standpoint, I'll get to that here in the end. We'll summarize what the cost is across the way for the parking lot as well as the cost across. There's no hidden gems here. I just want to make sure that we get it. That way, when you have a subsequent question on the other side, we can get to the Q&A side as well. So beginning in mid-August, so we have Landscapes Unlimited. They're out of Lincoln. They're really good at building golf courses. They're building 3 in the area as well right now. Nebraska is really kind of in a unique position with the growth in golf, especially with the new clubs as well. So we've got Landscapes out here. They one of their shapers assisted us last fall. We've got a really good relationship with them, and Todd is used to working with them. As we get into, they would finish the work up on the reservoir, and then beginning in mid-August, number 14 will need to be shortened down to allow for the tee box renovation of the existing 14 tee. The end result is we will have an 18-hole golf course through Labor Day. So anybody that walks out here will have an 18-hole golf course through Labor Day. Will 14 play 180 from the tips? Not necessarily. We don't know what that's going to look like right now, but 14 will still be a par 3. We do know that. After Labor Day, we've got a lot of dirt work over there. We got to be able to create that chute. We don't want carts obviously going around it, and there's some access issues. So 15T would be moved up to the front of the fairway to allow for the tee box renovation. And then after Labor Day, number 11 will close. So we will go from 10 down to 12 par 3. We won't shift the routing of the golf course at the earliest next spring. Number 11 green would be sodded to speed up the recovery, and then the goal would be to open it by May 1st of next year. Jeff, any?
No, that sounds right. What we did, we're going to seed the green up on top. We'll be able to do that early in the summer and establish a seed bank. The problem with number 11, it doesn't cost much more money. You wouldn't want to do 18 holes with it, but a little bit more money to sod it. But you can turn it over pretty fast. You know, weather dependent. May is a hard date, depending. I'm assuming we're gonna be open in May. If it was seeded, it could be July.
The end result of this is that we're leading up to the members being able to have the final say in what goes on after that. These are projects that have been discussed for a very long time. Parking is a need that this club has always had, especially now. But as we get forward, anything as we move forward for projects outside of this, the membership really needs to be involved and make sure that we are going in the right direction and we have consensus as we get into this. So as we go from a what else can we expect standpoint, so we've talked about parking, we've talked about the golf course a little bit to start with, but then we've got to get into our facilities review and design. Again, I go back to, if I had $1 for every time somebody walks into my office and says, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? I'd have a lot of dollars. The end result is that we've looked at this facility left and right, all the way from, there's, I believe she's in attendance. I've had someone tell me that we need to add a 3rd level to the clubhouse. They didn't put an elevator in the elevator shaft. They didn't build the clubhouse to have a 3rd level. So we've got to understand our limitations as to what we can do. And then the other part is, again, we're on 80 acres. We've got to make the best use. When we go to do this, we got to do it right. We got to make sure that everybody's on the same page and we're all rowing in the same direction. The board has engaged McMahon Group. It is a professional club organization that understands architecture of clubs and does this across the country. It is one of the best decisions this board has made outside of having Jeff as Greens and Grounds chairman for years and years. The end result is that McMahon Group is the one, they are the professionals. They understand what the future of clubs look like. They understand how the previous generations have created clubhouses and how you navigate to what is the future desire for members, not only for our members, but also for nationwide as those trends generally kind of follow each other. We got to make sure that we make it feel club zone. I have to stress, we're not bringing in an architecture firm that understands clubs that they can draw something for someone else. They have to make it personalized. That gets back to the process that we discussed earlier related to focus groups and all of that jazz. Work began on this in March. It will continue through early next spring. As we get to that process, I discussed having meetings that will dive deep into proposed improvements within across the entire club. The golf course plan is a little bit further ahead than everything else as we go. We missed 2 slides, by the way, now that I just discussed that. We had, I don't know, I must have hit those. All right, so then, but as we go, we'll have plans dive deeper in, or meetings to dive deeper into the golf course plan. We'll have meetings to just dive deeper into our pool, and we'll have meetings to just set, it's meetings on top of meetings on top of meetings, so presentations. So they give you a better idea of the thing that you really enjoy within your club. The end result is we need to put it together for everybody to understand and put together. All right, we've gone over that part. Golf course master plan has been revised and polished. Jeff, what revision are we on the golf course master plan?
Revision number 6.
I thought it was 43, so that's 6 is better than 43. The initial phase will make immediate improvements for current members. Future phases will create a more enjoyable playing experience and a better golf course, but also allow for a better use of our campus. Mr. Linden, that answers your previous question. These are the 2 slides I thought we had missed. Here we go. So we've got the north side. Let's keep it. We've got some people falling asleep over here. It's 7 o'clock.
All right, real quickly. If we're to do, these are future plans that are not approved. This is going to be discussions that I'd love to have in a much deeper dive as opportunities of what we can do through the master plan that we've already approved. This is the old facility. Here's number 7 right here. If you sit at the crest of this hill and look left, it looks like that hole could dive left, and we could do a new par 5, dogleg left. Here's existing 7, and then we could put in a new par 3. This is the idea that Todd Clark came up with, actually with multiple architects. He talked to a lot of architects about field planning. This was the idea. Make 7 apart, and this is the old maintenance facility here that we had no opportunity to use until now. And we looked at a practice facility down here. I mean, that was in 2015. We looked at put in a practice facility, so that was just not possible. So the idea is make this a par 5 dogleg left, par 3 over here. So then this is 7, this is 8, this is 9 then. So this is your new number 9. And it's the exact same green where we have it.
The existing number 8 becomes 9.
And then what we get to do is 9, we don't need it anymore. And we get to take 9 away. So you know that tee box up there, which people get bombed right now by all the young guys. Number 9 goes away. And so this tee box goes away and makes it a really good golf hole.
I keep cutting you out.
You cut me off?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so
We're gonna dive deeper into this in the future. I'm trying to respect everybody's time and understand what we're doing here.
okay, and this is what we'll look at really deeper. Here's 9 green. 9 green goes away because we don't need it anymore. Here's 18 green right now. We move it up and left, which allows us to reshape this entire hole. So 18 tee box is about where 17 green is right now. So 17 green goes away. You go to 16 green, instead of going up to here, you go up more toward the parking lot and play back toward where the tee box is right now.
Still par 3.
Yeah, really good par 3, really good par 3. You keep 16 as is.
My bad.
Sorry,
My
go
bad.
ahead.
No, I went the wrong direction.
Okay, so you keep 16 as is, 17 goes right back to here's 18 tee box. You actually put 17 green there, and then you slide over and play 18 as a dogleg left. It would fit the terrain better. Right now, it does not fit properly. You have an opportunity to put the green up on the, basically, we're 9 fairways right now. That becomes 18 green.
So Jeff, you're saying we can't cross fairways anymore?
They would not cross anymore.
Don't cross your fairways.
So,
The big part down here, I want to throw this out too. It allows you down on 17 here. With the way that Kelly hits it, he might actually have to cross fairways. So, the big thing down here, and I'm circling for those that are at home, you'll see in the kind of the middle right, where 17 tee box used to be, it allows us better use of land. So it gives more options from a facility review standpoint as we begin to look at some of the things that our members desire. And so there are some activity courts that have been drawn in here. There's a chipping green for a small game or a short game area. Those are all on the table from an option standpoint. Again, this stuff that Jeff has just kind of gone through from a cursory review standpoint, we will dive deeper in future presentations. The end result, none of this has been approved. However, if you look at the areas that we did look at earlier, it is the same on this plan. And so it's not rework to rework. It is continued progression of the overall plan.
and the nice thing now is no matter what happens, what we hope is future boards will follow this. You know, if you say, hey, we need to we need to tear out this car path and start over. All right, we have every single car path laid out on there. If you want to plant a tree from now on, we have it laid out where you put new trees. You know, we basically spent the last 10 years, 50% of trees should never have been planted where they were. They just were poorly placed. And we spent a lot of money tearing out trees where they should have never been there. They were disturbing greens, tees. I think you can see it, and especially, you know, Nick has worked his tail off taking trees out, and but you can see we have better turf, way better turf than we had 10 years ago. It's a slow process, but this is exciting. We can keep following this plan.
Hang with me, Bob. We're right there. Give me 5 minutes. We'll get this sucker wrapped up into Q&A. I get it. All right. So what else can we expect? The ultimate goal is to combine our facilities master plan with the golf course master plan. As you can see, the golf course is a little bit ahead of where we are from a facility standpoint. It's not unlike we were a couple of years ago. We had a pandemic. Give us some time. We want to present a club-wide master plan to the membership next spring. That means we're going to have a lot of work to do as we go forward here over the next couple of months. Summary, our lifestyles, member expectations, and just the overall membership count that we have servicing our families has changed. We're looking for a master plan to be able to bring everything together while also remaining financially viable for all members, regardless of wait list or not, continuing to provide the best value proposition of any club. At the end result,
Anytime somebody tells me, hey, I really wish we could do this, or hey, I went to this other club and they had that, my first reaction in my head is, if we charge what they charge, we could do all of those things. We don't. We believe from a management level standpoint, our end goal is to make sure that each and every member here gets more from a value standpoint than the cost that they put in. We want to make it, when you open up your statement at the end of the month, please make them email and not paper, it saves us money. But when you open your emailed statement, it is not a question as to whether or not you are going to continue to be a member of Field Club for years to come. And so the end, again, I cannot emphasize this enough. This is a process that will be back and forth. We need your engagement, we need your feedback. I am here to make sure that everyone in this room, everyone on this Zoom call, all 875 member families and 36 individuals that call us home, feel as though they have a club that they really care about and know that everyone here cares about their opinion. That's what I'm here for. Anytime you want to come in and discuss future of what we're doing, love to. Anytime you have a bad state, I'm off. So I mean that sarcastically. We want to make sure that we get everything taken care of. But please, let us know. Get in discussions. Jeff was fortunate enough, he was voluntold to come up here and do this. He's a really, really good guy and cares deeply about this club. This is not Jeff, Rick, any part of the board or my plan. This is the club's plan. We need your feedback. We've got places we want to go. We have problems that are all really good to have. The end result is we need to go places with it because the club is in really good position, but we have a lot of desires that we are unfulfilled right now. We need to prioritize those and make those the best for all of our memberships. The end result is some of the solutions may not be what you exactly love, but it's the best thing for the club as we move forward. Here's your part about it. Question and answer. I'll call out the questions, repeat those for those that are at home. That's our presentation for this evening. You are going to get a copy, like I said. We'll record this. We'll post it onto YouTube. We'll include that in a link that goes out to the membership along with the slide deck of what we have tonight. Look for future meetings to be scheduled that will take a deeper dive and give you an update on our process. But at this point, we're really excited to get started, not only from a project standpoint. I can't get away from it, so I will give you the numbers. The parking lot and the end result is going to be just over $200,000 for the addition over there. The golf course project this fall will be right around $700,000. Obviously, we're just getting started. All of that will be paid out of cash from an operating surplus standpoint for the last 18 months.
700,000, that's it. Then it's going to cost more than that.
Well, debt continues to go down. Mr.
We
Frank.
are cash flow positive currently, and we can do it.
Is our cash flow positive? Do I have Mr. Weederhold or Mr. Sliceman? Would you like to answer that?
Yes, yes, we are, and,
The question for those at home was whether we are cash flow positive.
and if you can believe this or not, but operational wise, we are cash flow positive by 100,000. Plus our best working of, if you can believe this, headache and employee retention credits that the board committed to employ our great staff, permitted us to earn and not pay payroll taxes and get that credit back to us. It meant a couple of $100,000 to the bottom line. It went down. And in addition to membership, and operational staff, and what you've done with the staff is what the members have done. I've been treasurer for 12 years, and probably my last year. But the club is in the best financial state that we are. We just have to make sure that we just start correcting sailors and spend more than we have.
Yeah, so to answer the question in dollars and cents, basically the club has been very fortunate over the last 18 Our membership has grown substantially. And we were talking about capacities the club has never had before. That has created really, really good problems. But it's also important that we continue to reinvest. It has accelerated what we want to do with this club. We're excited about what the future is going to look like, while also being very optimistic that pandemics are not going to be here for long. Hopefully we won't have to wear masks for very much longer. And hopefully we never have to deal with masks, again, I guess. Who knows what that looks like? I'm not here for that discussion. But we have been very fortunate over the last 18 months. I will tell you, the number one thing, as long as I'm here, my goal is to make sure that we never have to worry about having a membership that's less than that goal. And so that's our goal and our task as a management team. And that will continue to allow us and afford us the opportunities that we're discussing here.
Maybe just they're gonna sit on the clubhouse till we.
Question to make sure I'm understanding. With all these revisions of the golf course coming up, we're just getting rid of one hit over the street. All the others will stay. We're gonna keep hitting over the street.
Yeah, so 13 would have a forward tee box. That if you wanted to play the forward tee box on 13, that would eliminate that crossing. So we currently cross on 3, 13, 7, and 9. There was an initial plan for 7 that eliminated that crossing. There will be actually, I don't know, the forward tee is the forward tee in front of the, I don't think it's 7. Yeah,
No.
on the.
No, on 13, with the new 3T system, there will be a front tee on the other side of the road. So, I mean, it's all we can do.
Other questions?
There's something being planned to slow the traffic down on Woolworth.
There's nothing being planned. Yeah, so thank you. The question was, is there anything planned to slow the traffic down on Woolworth? At this time, no.
Why is that a problem?
Slow the traffic on Woolworth? Why is it a problem? How fast they go through?
You only hit a car once.
We sort of do.
I hit your truck. I know.
Other questions? Yes, sir.
The existing term that you have, what's the interest rate, what's the annual debt service?
We pay down about $220,000 a year on our annual debt, above and beyond all of our operational capital expenditures. And it's 4.25, and the note comes up in September on a balloon payment. We are currently in the process of finalizing a new note for that will allow us future flexibility as well, and that'll be tied to a term or tied to the primary.
What do we pay for the ground lease?
We have 2 leases. Ground lease. Keep doing that. Don't let me forget. What do we pay for our lease? So we lease approximately 66 acres from the county and the remaining 14 acres from MUD. The county lease, which is up in 2032, which is also tied with MUD, the total expenditure of that is somewhere in the neighborhood of $110,000 to $115,000 a year in lease expense.
110,000.
And no, the county does not want to sell. But also the county does not want to put a detention center here either, so we're in good shape there. Other questions? Mr. Sliceman.
And just for informational purposes following that, every major addition, renovation that we make to this golf course, we have to go to the county and get approval. Such as our parking lot, such as our drainage hole. Don't drive through the drainage hole on the way out.
So, yeah, so just to clarify for those that are at home, any major thing that we do to our facility, we have to go to the county and make sure that they're good with that. We've got a really good relationship with the county. I will tell you that there is a term in our lease that if the county ever decided to let us term out, not extend, they would owe the club for every dollar of improvement that we've made to the land. That is a large number. And so, there's actually a part of that as well that says that it gets split all to the management team.
So that way, it's tied to longevity. And if you believe that, I've got some other stuff to discuss. EJ.
Dr. Marble, can we talk after the meeting, please, Dr. Marble, about the, about that provision?
The work about the reservoir, I guess, like the practice green and the hitting phase, those obviously aren't good for any sort of play, but what about the green or the tee boxes? Are we just able to remow those basically and then that's it? Those would affect some play, and will that also be happening in July?
So the tee box is up on 10.
Yeah.
So the question was, how will the tee boxes be affected on 10 from a playability standpoint as they go to move those and
If
create
that work is
those?
also happening. in
Yeah,
July.
so, and the work is happening in July. There are portions of the existing tee, it's just more of a repositioning, similar to how we did 11. And so we want to make it so that the tee box doesn't point out of bounds.
Yeah, that's
Less calls for the neighbors is always better. And so there will be turf that's untouched. The current forward tee box on 10 is completely untouched. So you will probably see that tee box more in use as we go through the renovation while they work on the back tee box. And then the forward tee box won't be used until next year. We're trying to put as much seed into things up there as we can, just because the root structure established is always positive. We've got, for those that are interested, anything you're trying to build a golf course or improve a golf course on top of a reservoir, no one wants to put too much weight on that reservoir, because I certainly don't want to see a skid loader go down into the bottom of the water. So there's a lot of delicacy associated with that, and our partners at MUD have good contact with them as we move forward. Other questions? Yes, Ms. White.
One question, when, again, what's with 10? I'm looking at the picture that you showed and I can see where the lines were, for here's the practice nets and all that. I don't remember from, is there a cart path up there? Or are we gonna stick with grass going over the?
There'll be a car path.
The question is whether or not 10 would have a cart path all the way through it. Yes.
Straight like
Yes,
that?
it'll be a concrete car path. We've got to agree with MUD how to put it in. We've got to cart it in with smaller trucks. But it'll be a full car path all the way across the top of it. It'll look really nice.
I think they have done that.
I missed this earlier, but at what
They don't
point
have any
did
money.
10 and 11 switch to 1 and 2?
As soon as we run out of scorecards, so we don't have to waste any money. No, the proper question is as soon as we open the new green on 11 or the new green on 2,
So,
that'll trigger.
and 22.
Correct. It'll be next year.
Thank you.
Yep. If you're a high handicapper, you were going to the front end. We're not going to get enough strokes, but you will look back. Mr. Linden, do you have another question?
Actually,
Mr. Moore?
Jeff, we talked a little bit about how, they talked about how the real concerning thing is the way the water sits on top of that reservoir.
Well, the question is about how the water sits on the reservoir, how we intend to get the water off. That's a really on point.
Right, because there's no drainage into the water tank. So Todd has talked about that. It will be drained heavily underneath that, and that is the goal, which we can't do right now on all of our greens, especially on 1906 greens. They don't really drain properly. The new greens are really, really thick, and then they'll have drainage underneath, and they'll get that out. They've got that covered.
The end result is, for our standpoint as operators, we want to get water off of grass as quick as we can so that we can control the cycle.
Yeah, it'll be drained heavily.
Yeah, you don't have drain.
There'll be underground drainage.
That's all new, right? That's all new.
Correct.
Other questions? This further.
I heard the question by Judy about crossing over the fences in the street.
Yeah.
And I'd like to ask for more information about, does this plan change at all? If it would ever be successful in closing over that?
So the question, I'll let Jeff take this, is whether or not the golf course master plan would be adjusted based off the road closing.
It would be adjusted for the better. Be a better golf course if we close the road. And the answer is yes, and we specifically went to our architect and said a couple of things. We need a plan that we can work on right now with the road open. If the road were to close, some of the next phasing could be changed. For instance, where right now 18 Green is in 9 Fairway. If the road were to close, we could put it up on top of the road. 8 Green could be moved up onto the road. You could lengthen 8. There's a lot of things you could do. Number 1 could be lengthened. Number 4 could be lengthened. Number 3 will play much better without a fence. And we're going to probably have to keep the slope on number 3 to par 5 just because there's a pipeline underneath that, so we can't dig down. But we can, yeah, we can just dig it out and see what happens.
The other part is you're gonna have utilities that run on a public street, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to put a green over the street that can have to be done. I'll just go ahead and take the next question.
So a follow-up question would be, will we start at the periphery with hope that the holes that are on the street would be down the line a little bit?
So the question is, are we starting with the periphery? And the answer is yes. All we're doing right now is down in the west corner, getting rid of the biggest problem we have right now on the golf course, as far as playability goes, is that our drainage issues on the west end. It's going to give you an opportunity to see how, we hired an architect. I think everyone can see how 11 looks really nice. And I think it turned out nice. We have an architect doing it. We've got some professional landscapers, shapers coming in and doing this right. I think you're going to see an opportunity with 11 and 3 and 14. I think next year they're going to look sharp. And I'll hopefully give everybody an idea that this is why we hired our architects. And hopefully it'll help us, move forward.
Here comes the gateway drug. I'm taking this next question. So when is the road going to change? That's what everybody's going to ask. We continue to progress and discuss with those in our area. The end result is that closing a public street for the benefit of the private country club in the middle of Omaha doesn't sell very well. So we've got to be able to make sure that we work with our partners and understand what's going on and the reasons behind why we believe that street is no longer needed. We don't have emergency access to county hospital anymore. It's not even a hospital. Go to UNMC. It's a lot. They know what they're doing over there. The other part is it's a huge safety issue, right? And so anytime we cross that road, and so if you would like more talking points, I'm happy to discuss those with you afterward. But that's the big part for us as we go forward. We continue to progress with those discussions. But again, we only can control so much. If the road could close tomorrow, I think the majority of the membership, I have had people that have come in and told me they do not want the road closed. Most of them use that every time they come to the club. However, it is most of our opinions that the majority of the membership would appreciate not having to play over the road and deal with that issue. So we will continue to have those discussions. The membership will be informed as information forms.
And just one more thing regarding the road, I've been heavily involved in that. We have taken it as far as we can go right now. It's outside of our control, outside of the club's control. We have not stopped pursuing it, but is the timeline and whether it can happen is going to be dependent upon other stakeholders in the issue. The other thing is very political. We've got Douglas County, we have the city council, we have the mayor, we have the VA, and we have neighborhood associations involved. So we've got everyone's got to come together to make this happen. But we're going to have a new city council tomorrow, and so everything changes now too. So we'll see.
I just,
Other questions?
you notice my wife left, and so she's tired of these questions. First of all, in all seriousness, I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for tonight.
We hang up now. Just about.
My interest because, I haven't been at this club very long. What is a clubhouse member? I saw if there are 50 clubhouse members. And like I said, I'm sure.
Warren Buffett.
Pretty soon, the clubhouse members might be what membership type you're in based off of the crowd reaction earlier. So,
maybe I don't want to go.
the clubhouse member is just that. It has access to the clubhouse and limited access points to the other facilities like the pool.
I don't wanna know.
So you can use basically everything within the clubhouse, the events, the
Oh, like the
facilities.
fitness center?
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
yeah, I'm there all the time.
yeah. Yeah, so the question for those at the home, who have just got answered was, what is the clubhouse membership? The clubhouse membership is use of the clubhouse with up to 5 uses of the pool and up to 5 uses of the golf course.
But remember that was all developed as an entree to one of these.
And it was created to be able to allow future growth of the social membership that has been near or at capacity for years. Other questions?
No.
The bar is getting louder.
Well, my wife's in there.
Yeah. There is still money in the fry room, whether or not the mixed grill for the bar tab for the hole in one, if it exhausts between now and when you get there, do not hold me responsible, but still do buy a drink, please. John Woodrow. Thank you everyone for your attendance, and we'll send this out. Feel free to come and see me at any time.